A white school staffer sees a young black boy sitting quietly in a hallway and thinks, he doesn't belong here. She calls the cops. Minutes later, a black woman arrives, calm, powerful, dressed like she runs the world. She looks the officer dead in the eyes and says, "That's my son, and I'm FBI." But this isn't just about a misunderstanding. It's about a system, a setup, and a secret so deep, even the mother didn't see it coming. This story spans 3 generations, and it starts with a call that should have never been made. But before we continue, hit that subscribe button, like, and share this video. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments. We want to know just how far our stories reach. Now, let's get into it. It started on a rainy Thursday morning in South Atlanta, the kind of day where tension lingers in the clouds like smoke before fire. Cassandra Moore, CEO of Apex Dynamics, one of the few black women to ever run a Fortune 500 tech firm, tightened her trench coat as she stepped out of her sleek black Tesla and into the parking lot of Carter Elementary School. Her boots clicked purposefully on the wet pavement. She had no assistant with her today, no press team, no security detail, just a mother walking into her son's school after receiving an unsettling message. "There's been a misunderstanding regarding your son. Please come in." Cassandra wasn't new to misunderstandings. She was born in Newark, New Jersey, to a single mother who worked 2 jobs and still found time to braid her daughter's hair while reciting multiplication tables. She learned early how to handle boardrooms filled with doubt and softly veiled condescension, but she never thought her own 10-year-old would have to navigate the same kind of judgment in a place meant for learning. Meanwhile, inside the school, 5th grader Malik Moore sat quietly in the principal's office, flanked by 2 stern-looking officers. One of them, Officer Trent, kept his hand rested a little too easily near his holster, while the other, a younger black officer named Davis, seemed uncomfortable but said nothing. Malik, dressed in a school uniform, white polo, khaki pants, fresh sneakers, clutched his backpack like it was the only safe thing in the room. He'd been stopped in the hallway between classes after a white substitute teacher, Miss Karen Whitmore, claimed she saw him wandering near the staff lounge. She said he looked suspicious and feared he was scouting for something. She hadn't seen him helping Miss Tate, the science teacher, carry a heavy box of lab materials. She hadn't heard her thank him. She hadn't noticed that Malik was in the school's gifted and talented program, or that he'd won the math bowl last semester. She saw a tall-for-his-age black boy and imagined trouble. Back in the office, Principal Gomez sat behind her desk, visibly tense. "Malik's mother's on her way," she said, trying to de-escalate the officer's presence, but Trent's jaw remained tight. Across the city, Cassandra was already weaving through school hallways, her heels clicking louder than her heartbeat. A secretary tried to stop her at the front desk, but one look into Cassandra's eyes made her sit back down without a word. The door to the principal's office burst open. "Mom!" Malik stood up, relief washing over his face. Cassandra walked straight to him and pulled him into a hug, scanning him quickly for signs of harm. Her eyes then met the officer's. "Why is my son being treated like a criminal?" Officer Trent folded his arms. "Ma'am," there was a report. "From who?" Cassandra interrupted, her tone cold and controlled. She turned to the principal. "Miss Whitmore," Principal Gomez replied, flustered. She said, "I don't care what she said. My son is 10, Cassandra snapped. 10 years old, and already being criminalized in a school that's supposed to protect him. You called the police before calling me?" Before anyone could respond, the door creaked open again. Miss Whitmore stepped in, her smug expression freezing the moment she laid eyes on Cassandra. "Oh!" she breathed, almost involuntarily. "You're Malik's mother?" Cassandra's lips curled into something that wasn't quite a smile. "Is there a problem with that?" He was somewhere he shouldn't have been," Whitmore stammered. "He made me uncomfortable." "Uncomfortable?" Cassandra echoed, voice laced with disbelief. "You mean a child doing nothing but walking down a hallway?" Whitmore's cheeks reddened. "I thought he was trying to steal something, or maybe plant something." That's when Officer Davis cleared his throat. "Ma'am, I was reviewing the hallway footage. Your son was helping another teacher Carry supplies. Miss Tate confirmed it. The room went silent. Whitmore blinked. Well, he still shouldn't have been near the staff room. That's against protocol. Cassandra took a step closer. Do you enforce that protocol on every child? Or just the black ones? Whitmore's face drained of all color. Principal Gomez stood up quickly. This is clearly a misunderstanding. Let's all take a moment and... No, Cassandra said. We're not smoothing this over. Not this time. She pulled her phone out, scrolled through her contacts, and tapped the screen. Zara? Yeah, I need eyes on something. Pull every report involving black students in this school over the last 3 years. Every suspension. Every referral. I want patterns. Officer Trent squinted. Who are you calling? My chief of data integrity. At Apex Dynamics. We build AI that detects bias in algorithms, especially in law enforcement and education systems. Trent shifted. You're that Cassandra Moore? Cassandra turned to face him fully now. That's right. I've testified before Congress about how implicit bias leads to real harm. Harm that starts in places like this, with children like mine. Whitmore tried to interject again, but Cassandra raised a hand. Save it. You called the police on a 10-year-old child. You didn't ask questions. You assumed, and now you'll answer for that. The room was thick with tension, no one daring to speak. Malik stood quietly beside his mother, his small hand gripping hers tightly. Outside, the rain had stopped, but the storm inside had only just begun. The next morning, news broke before sunrise. Black CEO confronts racist incident at elementary school. The headline surged across social media platforms like wildfire. Carried on the wings of cell phone footage one of the office aides had discreetly recorded and uploaded. It showed Cassandra Moore, poised and unwavering, challenging the system with words like steel. By noon, it had 4.3 million views. But viral fame was never Cassandra's goal. She sat in her kitchen, sipping bitter black coffee, her face blank despite the chaos erupting online. Across the marble countertop, Malik munched quietly on cereal, the spark in his brown eyes dimmer than usual. Mom, he asked softly, am I scared of people? Her hand froze on the mug. You're brilliant, she said. You're kind. You're helpful. And no, baby, you're not scary. But sometimes the world sees us through a dirty lens. Malik frowned. Why don't they clean it? She didn't answer. Meanwhile, at Carter Elementary, the tension hadn't died down. It had merely gone underground. Parents began calling the district office, demanding to know why officers had been summoned on a fifth grader. Protests began forming at the school gates. Some in support of Cassandra, others in defense of Miss Whitmore. Karen Whitmore, however, wasn't dealing with media or picketers. She was holed up in her sister's condo, phone turned off, pacing like a trapped animal. She'd been placed on leave pending investigation. But it was more than that. Her face was now a meme. He looked suspicious. Karen, 2025. Mocking videos flooded TikTok. Teachers across the country use her name as a cautionary tale in racial bias training. Even her mother wouldn't answer her calls. She hadn't expected this. She had only followed her instinct, or so she told herself. But deep down, something darker gnawed at her, something that came from years of unchallenged beliefs, little moments she never examined, biases inherited but never questioned. The phone buzzed, finally. It was Gregory. Gregory Belmont, chairman of Apex Dynamics, and the white man who once mentored Cassandra Moore. Karen, he said briskly, we need to talk. In person. By the time she arrived at Gregory's gated estate, her stomach churned like the clouds above. He greeted her on the patio with a scotch in hand, expression unreadable. You've caused quite a storm, he said, motioning for her to sit. She set me up, Karen snapped. She knew exactly how this would play. She made me look like a villain. Gregory stared at her a moment before replying. She didn't have to make you look like anything. Karen scoffed. So you're on her side? I'm on the side of truth, he said coolly. And the truth is, you didn't stop to ask questions. You saw a child who didn't look like your idea of safe, and you acted. That's not just wrong, it's dangerous. her face contorted with disbelief. Are you seriously lecturing me on danger when she's the one sending her watchdogs after me? Her tech team just contacted my university. They're digging up records from 15 years ago. Gregory raised an eyebrow. Because you made yourself a case study. Karen stood, breathing hard. I was trying to protect the school. No, Karen, he said calmly. You were protecting your comfort. And now, you started a fire that can't be undone. Back at Apex Dynamics, Cassandra wasn't satisfied with just exposure. She wanted reform. She launched Project Clear Lens, a pilot program aimed at identifying systemic bias in school disciplinary actions across 5 states. The data spoke volumes. Black students were 3 times more likely to be suspended for minor infractions. 3 times. Her board was nervous. Do you really want to antagonize a school district? Asked one of the executives. We're a tech firm, not a civil rights organization. We're both, Cassandra said without blinking. Tech shapes the world, and we're shaping ours. But just as momentum was building, a new name surfaced in the conversation. Leon Belmont, Gregory's estranged son and Cassandra's ex-fiancé. Leon had left the spotlight years ago after a messy breakup, and even messier IPO scandal. But now he was back, and the whispers were growing louder. A reporter from The Atlantic called Cassandra's office requesting a comment. Is it true your son's biological father is Leon Belmont? The question sent a chill through the office. Cassandra ended the call. She protected that secret fiercely, not out of shame, but necessity. Leon hadn't been there for Malik, and the last time she saw him, he swore he'd never be a footnote in someone else's legacy. But this wasn't about Leon, or so she thought, because later that evening, as she walked Malik to his coding club, a sleek car pulled up beside them. The back window rolled down. Leon, looking older, sharper, and more dangerous than ever. We need to talk, he said. Malik blinked at him, confused. Who are you? Cassandra stepped between them instantly. No, we don't. Leon glanced around before stepping out. Cassandra, this is bigger than you think. What happened at that school? It wasn't just Karen. There are people watching you, watching us, and you're not the only one digging. She narrowed her eyes. What are you talking about? He handed her a folder. Start here. Inside were classified documents, names, surveillance photos, a symbol she hadn't seen in years, a black wolf tattoo with 3 red slashes, the same symbol from a case she'd once helped bury deep inside the Justice Department. Her hands trembled. Why do you have this? Leon looked straight into her eyes. Because Malik's not just your son. She flinched. Don't. He's the key to everything they're trying to stop. Sirens wailed in the distance, but it wasn't police. It was a fire truck. Somewhere nearby, the smoke rose fast, dark and violent, licking the sky like it was trying to erase the stars. Cassandra drove like fire was chasing her, one hand gripping the wheel, the other pressing Malik close to her side. The folder Leon had handed her sat between them, pages threatening to spill secrets that had no business surfacing after so long. What's happening, Mom? Malik asked, eyes wide with fear. She couldn't answer. Not yet. In her rear-view mirror, Leon's car was gone, disappeared into the night like a ghost. But the folder he left behind remained heavy in her lap, like it contained something radioactive. She couldn't shake the emblem burned into the last page, the black wolf with red slashes. That mark had haunted her once. Now it had returned. By morning, the media frenzy had tripled. Headlines screamed scandal, conspiracy, race, politics, power. Everyone had an opinion, but only Cassandra had the truth, or at least the beginning of it. Inside Apex's high-security command room, she stood before her most trusted team, her chief data officer, Zara, cyber defense head, Emeka, and her legal bulldog, Renee. All eyes were on the documents now spread across the long glass table. This isn't just about what happened to Malik, Cassandra began. This goes deeper. These files connect private educational contractors, prison pipeline investors, and biometric surveillance developers. And look at this. She pointed to a page with redacted names and coded bank transfers. Karen Whitmore's brother-in-law is on the board of one of these surveillance firms. They profit from behavioral reports, school write-ups, on students as young as 9. Emeka leaned forward, stunned. They're tagging kids? Building profiles to sell to law enforcement and predictive AI systems. Yes, Cassandra said. And the darker the skin tone, the higher the alert ranking. It's not just bias, it's engineered discrimination. Renee looked up. And Leon, he found this after he was blackballed from Silicon Valley, Cassandra said. He's been tracking these groups for years, off the grid. I didn't believe him, until he put this folder in my hands. Zara folded her arms. What now? Do we leak this? Go public. Cassandra shook her head. No, not yet. First, we confront the people involved, face to face. That confrontation came sooner than expected. Carter Elementary was eerily quiet when Cassandra arrived unannounced. No protesters, no press. Just a familiar white SUV parked near the back, the same one Karen Whitmore had driven before her suspension. Inside the library, the principal, school board president, and a lawyer representing the district were already seated. But so was Karen. Cassandra stepped into the room like thunder. You got a lot of nerve, Renee muttered at Karen's presence. I asked to be here, Karen said, standing slowly. Her voice cracked, not from fear, but what sounded like guilt. I didn't know what they were doing. Not until I saw those documents. You were part of it, Cassandra snapped. You're just scared now because the curtains pull back. Karen's eyes watered. I can't undo what I did, but I can help expose the rest. Cassandra studied her, weighing the sincerity behind the words. You get one shot, and you're going to testify. In front of the city council. In front of the nation. The district's lawyer jumped in. Now hold on. No, Cassandra interrupted. You hold on. You allowed a culture of profiling and silence to run unchecked. You hired people who fed their reports into a racist algorithm. You've endangered children, all for contracts and quiet deals. The board president cleared his throat. Ms. Moore, we're willing to discuss settlement. Cassandra laughed coldly. You think I want your money? No. Renee, cut in. She wants your resignation. And she got it. But Cassandra wasn't finished. Later that week, she sat before a congressional committee, the same marble halls where she once pitched a proposal to regulate facial recognition tech. Now, she was back with evidence that school systems were part of a network channeling black and brown children into a digital prison pipeline, disguised as education reform. When Malik watched the testimony from his seat next to Zara, his chest swelled with pride, not just for his mom, but for everyone she was standing up for. And still, there was one more battle to face. A week later, Cassandra stood in front of her son's new school, an elite academy funded by a coalition of black entrepreneurs, educators, and community leaders. The environment felt different, intentional, safe. Malik turned to her before stepping out of the car. I'm not afraid anymore. She smiled, brushing his cheek. Good. Never be afraid of who you are. Make them adjust to you. As he walked away, Leon appeared beside her again, this time in daylight. You did it, he said. We did it, she corrected. They stood in silence for a moment. What now, he asked. Cassandra exhaled. Now we build something they can't break. A system that sees our kids as promise, not as problems. Leon nodded. And Malik, he's watching, she said. So we don't get to stop. He offered a small smile. Maybe you'll let me be part of that now. She didn't answer right away, but her silence was softer this time. Back in the city, in a sterile federal office building, another storm was brewing. A white woman sat nervously in an interview room, hands clenched. The door opened, and in walked a tall black woman in a navy blue suit, badge clipped to her belt. FBI Special Agent Naomi Richardson, Malik's godmother and Cassandra's childhood best friend, took a seat across from the woman. You called the cops on a schoolboy, Agent Richardson began. He's my godson. You froze when his mother showed up because you recognized a power you couldn't control. But now, you're in my hands. The woman, another school official, one who had quietly submitted biased reports, began to stammer. Agent Richardson didn't flinch, and you will cooperate, or you'll learn what it feels like to be on the receiving end of systemic pressure. Justice, at last, had a face like Malik's, a voice like Cassandra's, and a spine that would never bend again. If this story moved you, inspired you, or even made you think twice about the people we often overlook, don't keep it to yourself. Share the story. Talk about it. Let it spark a conversation in your home, school, or workplace. And if you want more real, raw, and powerful storytelling that entertains and enlightens, make sure you follow, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Because these are the stories that change minds. And maybe, just maybe, change the world.